All right, welcome back to another post-game edition of the Night Report podcast. Rutgers loses to Ohio State 42-9 in a game where Rutgers was never really in serious contention to win it, but I think the defense played one of its better games of the season despite the score, and the offense couldn't really get a whole lot done in this game that really, I think neither side wanted to do a whole lot in the second half. We talked a lot on the halftime spaces for those of you who are around about kind of what we wanted to see in the second half. I would say that what we ended up seeing was not ideal in the second half. The first half, I feel like the defense played a whole lot better. They were able to get more penetration. They were able to stop the running game a lot more. There wasn't as many huge blown plays as there were in the second half. But, playing a team that is this talented and this good will wear you down, and that kind of seems to be what happened. High level, Rich, how do you feel like this game went for the Scarlet Knights?
Competitive first half, worn down second half. Not too shocking at all. Ohio State's also, you got to mind you, without their best two receivers, and one of those guys is the best receiver in the country, and another one's a top 10 projected pick in next year's draft. So, yeah, it is. They weren't able to really chuck the ball down the field as they usually do, but they just torched Rutgers with their tight ends, I should say. Julian Sand was very good. Their offensive line's very good. Their defensive line's very good. Their linebackers are very good. You could kind of insert very good in any position group on that Ohio State team. They were really competitive in the first half, Rutgers. They put up a good fight. It was a pesky defense. It's shown flashes of something that we probably haven't seen really all season long from this defense. They were playing, I don't want to say lights out in the first half, but they were playing damn good. They were getting pressure on Julian Sand. They weren't able to convert them into sacks. They weren't able to really do much. The huge fumble in the first drive of the game was enormous, and it's like, holy shit, they're going to be more competitive in this one than I thought. And a couple mishaps, more specifically the second half, but the linebacker play was once again meh. Jabome, you said it in the halftime show, he's just not a coverage guy. Abram Wright got banged up, got back in, got banged up. I don't think he came back in, but it didn't seem like it was that bad. Sam Robinson replaced him, so we'll have to see what happens next week. A lot of young guys late, but it didn't really matter at that point. It was just more like, hey, go out there, get a couple snaps in. Like Jonathan Insignia played, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Got a tackle too. So,
yeah, a lot of new faces on the field. We've hit the point in the season where red shirts are kind of locked in, so you can play basically anybody now. Yeah, I think this game kind of got away. Like Rutgers really needed to play the perfect game of all perfect games in order to win this, and I don't think anyone expected them to. But the Bradley Weaver roughing the passer certainly was a huge backbreaking play. That felt like a lot of the momentum went out of Rutgers' sails. A few big pass plays that were wide open that we missed. Ethan seemed to be kind of playing with happy feet all game. The run game was just okay. We had a lot of short yardage situations we couldn't convert. A fourth down early on in the game, deep in our own territory, we didn't convert on 4th and 1. Ultimately, though, this is about what we expected. The line was between 32.5 and 30.5, depending on when you got it. The margin of victory ended up being 33 points. You got to wonder if Greg Schiano knew something about the point spread when he went for 2. I'm just kidding, obviously, but yeah, I wish we could have seen a little bit more from the offense in the second half to get a couple really productive drives. We had one, so we'll take it, but that wasn't until 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They already had most of their second string in at that point. But overall, we knew next week was going to be what decided the season, really. Since the Illinois loss, we knew kind of what our path was. It was narrow, and it involved beating Penn State. Penn State plays shortly. I think do they play
3:30.
Okay, so they've kicked off already against Nebraska, who's with their second string quarterback.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Never mind. 7 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, so they kick off at 7 p.m. Nebraska's with their second team quarterback. You got to imagine if Penn State wins this game, they're going to be coming in with some motivation, with a 2-game winning streak, the longest winning streak they've had since September. So we'll see. I don't know. There's really just this is basically what we expected out of this game. So it's tough to have a whole lot of analysis when the game played out very similarly to what a lot of us thought. The 4th-and-1 play call drove me crazy.
Yeah.
It did for me too, because Ethan did the thing where he went up to the line and checked the call. And it seemed like usually when he does that, it's because of how the safeties are aligning. So Caleb Downs obviously is one of the best safeties in the country, if not the best. And I don't know if he saw something specifically from how the safety alignment was, but he checked us to a different play, or he checked us to a different direction of the run play, and it did nothing. Like, you're not going to win a bully match on short yardage against one of the best teams in the trenches in college football. So it would have been nice to see some kind of variant out of the same boring play calling that we've gotten in that situation. Because, I mean, let's be honest, like, we could have blocked that perfectly and we probably still don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing you could have done. He tried to bounce it outside. It's just, there's such a good defensive line, and Rutgers' offensive line is also kind of makeshift at the moment. Like, you have Tyler Needham. I shouldn't say makeshift, I guess, because he's been the starter for God knows how many weeks now, but it's left tackle 3 at this point. Like, he wasn't supposed to be out there.
Yep.
Left, Brian Felter is what he is at this point. I think he kind of plateaued. Same could be said for Zawinski. Same could be said for the entire line, actually. It's just, it feels like they're kind of just stuck in that middle of the Big Ten category. Like, they can't get past it. They're just stuck there. When you're going against superstars that Ohio State has, you see what happened today. They're able to create pressure on Ethan. They're able to get in the backfield. Hit eight Antoine Raymond in the backfield, even hit Sam Brown in the backfield at times, hit Jayshon Benjamin in the backfield at times. It's a very talented Ohio State team, and we just see it every year when they play each other. There's such a big talent gap between Rutgers and them, and I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon.
We got a super chat from Sean Yanni. Great pod. See you on the boardwalk. From the Balloon Man. Yes, we will see you there next weekend, Sean. Thank you.
He said what's up to me and Alec a couple weeks ago. He's the guy that does all the balloon animals.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Very much appreciated. We do have somebody who is coming to the stage here. Rut Rom. Not sure if you're on here. What's going on, Rut Rom?
I have fat fingers. I meant to write Rut Row.
No, it's okay.
Welcome
back.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of hit all the notes. We're outclassed by Ohio State, and you just wonder if we're ever going to close the chasm. It's like the Grand Canyon between Rutgers and Ohio State. And I know you guys have alluded to it, that Kelly's Inn is raising close to 8 figures for NIL. What does that buy you? Does that close the chasm at all? At what point do I ever not just go out with my family to go see the Alpaca today, which is what I did. And then I was watching the game at a restaurant this afternoon because I knew we were going to get blown out. Like, is there ever going to be a point when I actually want to tune into this game is what I'm really asking here.
So Richie and I both have kind of gathered a healthy amount of intel about like some of the guys that they went after, kind of price points. Rich, I don't know if you want to take this first, and then I could kind of add on a little bit.
I mean, a lot of these guys cost, if we're going back to court documents specifically, like Jet Elad was worth $500,000 apparently, and now that's not including all the extra benefits that he could have made, whether it's Big Ten, all Big Ten, and all conference, all yada yada. He's obviously not winning.
Yeah, I think that 500,000 number is the maximum value of the contract if he hits every single incentive.
It's still, you got to say like 6 figures, so probably around 200, 250. Yeah. I know Eric O'Neill got a solid 6 figures. Bradley Weaver got a solid 6 figures. So, I mean, you do the math, like 8 figures is going to help a lot on top of the revenue sharing that you now have. Is it going to make a difference in chipping at the dent of Ohio State? I think you could put upwards of 15 million into this team next year, and you're probably still losing by 20 points to Ohio State. Ohio State's roster is probably worth what, 30? 35 mil, something like
I
that.
mean, last year's was 20 some, and then rev share got added this year. So
No, so even more than that, probably. Yeah. It's just such a big gap that it's just going to be so hard to close. And I don't think it's not even important about closing that gap. It's more about closing the gap between the bottom tier of the Big Ten and the middle tier of the Big Ten. You want to stay in that middle tier with the Minnesotas, the Iowas, the Illinois even starting to like inch up. Now, Indiana obviously got like a little bit of a cheat code, sort of going from like down here to all the way up here real quick, but not every program can do that. Now, every program thinks they're going to be able to do that this offseason. I don't think it's going to work. I think a lot of these coaches or these programs are going to be like, shit, this isn't Kurt Signetti. What the hell?
Yeah. And I mean, I've talked to some people who are in the know at Indiana, we'll just say, and they didn't get a significant bump in their NIL budget until this past offseason. Like they were right around where Rutgers was in terms of their NIL last year. They just had an incredible coach come in, bring in a lot of his guys, and just do an outstanding job. And then the money is, I mean, the winning is what brought the money. I mean, that's how it always is in these situations. You win, you're going to get more support. Indiana's going to have an even bigger budget next year if they have the season that everyone thinks they're going to with a deep run in the playoff. And Indiana went after a few of the same guys as us. And I know for a fact, CJ West, the guy that Colin Farrell recruited to Kent State, coached him for 4 years, he got 7 figures to go to Indiana last year as a late addition. I don't think Rutgers was offering that. So there are guys that Rutgers makes priority recruits in the transfer portal that they haven't been able to afford, that they have really strong connections to, that they probably would have landed if the money was comparable. So does that money become comparable in the future with greater NIL? I think it does. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Rutgers is going to land a series of recruiting battles in the portal against LSU and Texas and things like that. But they are going to land guys that get poached by like the Wisconsins and the Illinois of the world, where they're the right fit in terms of price point for where we're at in the pecking order, but we just aren't able to afford them.
Is there any talk of them going to like an EPL type model where you have to pay a compensation when you steal a player from another team, like pay the school something?
No shot. It's Pandora's box. It's open. That's really it.
They are doing that with like European club basketball, but that's only because they have a professional contract. Now they're adding this additional language on where schools now might have to pay, but I don't even know if that's finalized.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at Indiana, even like who the hell was going after Curtis Rourke after an 11 touchdown, 5 interception season? Like they just got really good evals too on top of it. And that's a big thing. Rutgers beat out Arkansas for DT Sheffield, beat out several Midwest Power 5 schools for Bradley Weaver. Hell, they beat out Illinois and Indiana for Colin Weber. And unfortunately, some of these evals just don't work out in their favor. Like Jet Elide wanted to go, where the hell did it was going to go to Purdue and follow Barry Odom, but obviously that backfired. I know Purdue's not the best comparison, but like beating out Arkansas, beating out Illinois, beating out Indiana, beating out who was after O'Neal? You would know. I forgot.
Oklahoma was.
I mean, they beat out all these Power 5 schools. It's just some of these evals just shit the bed. Like O'Neal obviously worked out, but the rest, it's like
it's evals and fit. Like I think you could have put like some of the best players in the country in this defense this past year, and it just wouldn't have worked because this defense has never worked. It hasn't worked at Rutgers multiple times. It hasn't worked at Arkansas. It hasn't worked at Minnesota. Duke. It hasn't worked at Duke. The guy's just not a great defensive coordinator, and I can't believe he keeps getting these opportunities. I don't think we have to worry about it in the offseason, but it's we were kind of set up for failure this year with some of the decisions that were made outside of player personnel, rather.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I do want to shout out P. Matapoisset for the super chat here. I thought I saw enough in the first half to think there was a chance next weekend. I do too. Obviously, you want to see Penn State. If you purely want Rutgers to win, you want Penn State to lose today. If you want to inflict the maximum amount of pain on the Penn State fan base, you want them to win today and lose their like small shot at redemption for this season by making a bowl. But I mean, if you're asking me, I want Penn State to lose today and have as little as possible to play for next weekend to increase the odds that we win. Because honestly, like, are we going to give a shit if we kept Penn State from the Pinstripe Bowl in 10 years? when we won. No, I don't. Who cares? We just beat Penn State. That's it. We won the game. That's what we're gonna remember. It'll be a nice little like cherry on top, but it's for me it does nothing.
It's fair. I'm intrigued to see what they do tonight, just because it's backup quarterback versus backup quarterback, interim head coach versus arguably your top target in your search that you missed out on now. So and it's at Penn State, which also plays a factor. That home crowd is something different, and they still show up despite them being bottom barrel of the Big Ten. But yeah, you don't want them going in five wins versus 5 wins, because I'm not confident in that whatsoever.
They're going to take over the stadium next week, too, if they win tonight. It's more motivation for all the guys that actually didn't even go to Penn State until the show, but root for them. It's my number one line. What year did you graduate? And then it's just a blank stare from all of them.
Oh, I went to East Stroudsburg. Oh, okay. That's weird.
Yeah, I went to Penn State Altoona.
That counts, I guess. Yeah. No, they already have they sold out something in East Brunswick or North Brunswick. I forgot. Like it's like Rutgers off the Banks tailgating event. They have like a pep rally and something else that was already sold out like months ago. So there's going to be a significant crowd there. I don't know how much, because they're in such a dark place right now, and they're getting extremely desperate in their coaching search. I don't know if you saw that this morning. They're interviewing the Commanders wide receivers coach, who's a Penn State legend in his own right, but has never been anything other than an OC at Wisconsin for 1 year, and it was a really bad year for Wisconsin. It's hilarious to watch. But
if we want to enjoy a little Schadenfreude, so the Notre Dame Syracuse game, there's 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Nobody look. What do you think the score is right now?
Where's it at?
4 minutes left in the first quarter. It's at Notre Dame.
Oh, I'm going to say Notre Dame's up 14-6.
28-0 Notre Dame. I didn't look.
35-0.
Holy shit.
35.
I was being generous.
It's a brutal game, and you really hate to see it. Such a great fan base, such a good group of guys. I got nothing against Fran, but Syracuse has to have some of the worst fans in college sports.
Yeah, they fell off a cliff when Angeli went down. You see the chart, by the way, of like big time throws this week? Mm-hmm. And Angeli was like near the damn top, and Athan was up there too. Athan was among the top 10. So
yeah, it was a graph that had quarterbacks plotted. On one axis, it was a big time throw percentage, and the other axis was turnover worthy play percentage. Top right was the low turnover worthy plays, and high big time throw rate. And Athan, yeah, like you said, was right in that top right corner. So somebody asked, this is Nathaniel, sorry. When is Schiano talking to the media? He'll be on shortly. It really just depends like how long he spends talking to the team after the game, but he'll be on. Whenever
he's talking to them right now. We'll have the video shortly after.
Okay. Yeah, they don't post it immediately, and there's no live feed to it, unfortunately. But man, how great does it feel to look at that Notre Dame Syracuse score? Oh,
yeah, geez. That's pretty crazy.
Oh my God, is this true? Burning Knights, Notre Dame was up 21-0 before.
That's kind of insane if that's true.
Can somebody confirm that this is true?
I gotta go look now real quick.
Cool. Oh my God, he's right. Pick six.
Jeez.
Punt return touchdown. Pick six.
Oh my
goodness.
Well, is that the true freshman walk-on kid?
The lacrosse kid?
Yeah. He's lacrosse commit.
Well, they've got 2 quarterbacks who've played already. They're combined 4 for 10 for 16 yards and 2 picks. So.
Jesus. That is rough.
The one asks, what do we think our chances are against Penn State after seeing this performance today? I think if we get first half Rutgers and Penn State loses this week, I think we have around a 50-50 shot at winning. If we get second half Rutgers and Penn State wins this week, I think it's more like 25% chance Rutgers wins. What do you think, Rich?
I don't even want to compare it like that. I'd say more of like, I was pretty confident in the first half watching Rutgers, and now it really depends on what Penn State does tonight. And I'm going to steal this from Dave Anderson in our group chat, but like there's a really good shot if Penn State loses tonight that Rutgers is probably going to win next week. If they're not playing for anything, I think they're kind of screwed. They're dead in the water. Versus if it's 5-5, I don't care what anyone says. They're like, oh, well, like some people on our boards were saying, like, oh, Penn State doesn't want a bowl game this year. They don't care about that. Number one, you get bowl game money. Number two, and that's split amongst all the Big Ten teams, I believe, all the payouts. So you want the payout on top of everything. Terry Smith being a Pennsylvania guy, Penn State guy through and through, he's been there forever. I think he wants to prove to people that he could be a head coach. Now, I don't think he'll be the name when it's all said and done, but they're still playing for something. There's still some guys out there, and the young guys specifically, on top of there's still some talent there. That's what really scares me is that running game is very, very talented. And probably tonight against Nebraska, I think those two between Katron Allen and Nick Singleton are going to be the top two leading rushers in program history for them, which is crazy because they've had Saquon, they've had Miles Sanders, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough one regardless. I just think if a loss tonight makes me feel so much more confident. A loss tonight, I'm going to put it over 50% they win next week. A win tonight, I'm probably dropping it down to 30%. I'm not as confident at all.
Yeah, it's a good call out. We got Craig Epstein in the queue here. Craig, how's it going?
Oh, good. I mean, wasn't exactly the most exciting game in the world, but they like you guys said, it was pretty competitive. It was decently competitive in the first half, but second half was just the wheels fell off. And really, after the Bradley Weaver roughing the passer, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. And you could at first I kind of nitpicked a little bit that he seemed to get a little bit of a push in behind, but the follow through was just so bad. Like he didn't even have like the wherewithal to do like the thing that like usual football players do when it's like, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. He just basically drove himself through him and basically just turned away to, go chase down the play. And it was just so bad. And that's honestly just like you guys said, or the player evaluations, he's been just such a miss this year. And it's just so disappointing. But I guess it's just a case of two teams that we're really just looking ahead to next week, right? There's not much of a difference between us. I mean, Ohio State is looking towards Michigan, and Rutgers is looking towards their Michigan game against Penn State next week. So, I mean, are we really that much different if you think about it?
We're not so different, you and I. Yeah. Yeah, I thought Weaver actually played a great game today outside of that absolute, dipshit roughing the passer. But yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle on defense all year. They finally feel like they are I think there is tangible evidence that they did things better today than they did like 3 or 4 weeks ago. On defense,
definitely.
But
they're punching the ball out too, lying to the ball in the corners. Like even Cam Miller looked pretty solid. Bo Mascow was punching the ball out, and that one fumble got recovered. But Jabome on that the first drive, like I mentioned before, like that defense was moving.
Yeah, this effort was actually
had a rough game though.
The effort was actually good.
Kobe was the rough one. Yeah.
The effort was good today. I think if they played like, it was really only a few mistakes that led to kind of the wheels falling off. But if they played like this against like probably Minnesota or I mean, they probably could have. I mean, again, like you guys said, this was the same team a couple weeks ago that needed a last second field goal to beat Purdue. And then today is just like you said, it's just they looked just. I mean, it was at least competitive for a little bit until again the mistakes started to pile up. And again, you're facing Ohio State. The defense. I mean, it's just they're insane. They're just the best right now. They're probably the best team in the country. They might win it all again. And it's just crazy. And if I was thinking, it's crazy to me that I'm interested to get a Ohio State fans perspective that if they could, would they rather beat Michigan next week and lose in the championship game, or lose to Michigan again next week, but go on to win the championship? What would they rather have?
They'd rather beat Michigan any day of the week.
That is just so insane to me. I can't even like.
That's a real fucking rivalry right there.
I know. I
That's Yankees Boston-esque back in the day. Now that I think this rivalry probably overtook it at this point. I think this is the biggest rivalry in sports. Like.
I just can't comprehend that because to me, it's just winning the championship is everything, and it's like
they see a Michigan.
They've
You
gotten
walk
so
down the
bored of winning
street and you see a
championships.
hold on, wait. You walk down the street in Ohio, you see a guy with a Michigan hat on. There's a 90% chance he's getting punched in the face. Like that's how much these guys hate each other.
What that
You ever see that argument like in New York City where they're just like this, like in each other's face, just like fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That's basically what it is. It's like they're just dying for each other to just like fight each other. Like that is the craziest rivalry in all of sports right now. I don't think there's a question about it. Like they would rather beat the shit out of Michigan and lose to Indiana without question.
Yeah, and they haven't beaten Michigan since pre-pandemic. Just think of like how different the world was then. They haven't won that game since pre-pandemic, and they won 15 of the last 16 prior to that. Like I was talking to Alex Gleitman about it, and he said that like I asked him first if he would rather win against Michigan or win a back-to-back national title, like to end the losing streak or win another title. He said a title, but he does know some of his friends who would rather beat Michigan. He said the thing that a lot more people are talking about is would you rather beat Indiana in the Big Ten title game or would you rather beat Michigan in the game? And it's pretty much unanimous. They want to beat Michigan. So because like if you think about it, they're making they're making the CFP regardless, and they could get a bye as well. Even if they lose against rather Indiana. So
I mean, but you said Ohio State won 15 of 16, Michigan's won the last 5. Is it that much of a rivalry if it's so one-sided?
It is. It dates back to so long ago.
I'm just asking the important questions here.
Stop. We're getting off track here. Now, this is a question I wanted to ask both of you. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Because I'm in a big argument on the boards right now about this one.
Who are you arguing with?
I don't get it.
Well, sort of not argument, sort of. I'll explain in a second.
I don't get why you bring him in if you're not going to let him sling it a bit, get him a few more game reps. Like if you're just going to have him hand the ball off, I don't see the purpose of having him play a game. Unless there's some kind of incentive tied to his NIL agreement and you're doing him a solid, like he plays a certain amount of games, he gets, a bonus. I just don't understand it otherwise.
Probably saving the money at that point. No, now my argument on the boards is a lot of people are saying like this is insane. He's not going to have any snaps. He's got like 5 or 6 passing attempts going into next season as QB1 because he is QB1 next year. We all know that. But I don't think that's a big deal. Now, I think it's stupid you put him in the game and you didn't let him do anything. But that's a different argument. My argument is it doesn't matter. Like, how many quarterbacks go into like the season with like little to no snaps and are pretty solid quarterbacks throughout the entire college football season? I don't think it's that big of a deal. He got a couple reps here and there. Not to mention he's going to play shitters next year between starting out against UMass, which is the worst FBS team in the country right now. Then you get to play Boston College. Craig's favorite head coach, Bill O'Brien, has 1 win on the year. And then number 3, it's Howard. It's Howard. Like, no offense to them. I don't know who the hell is on their roster. I don't know who they're recruiting. I don't even know who their head coach is. But they're not going to be put up a fight against Rutgers next year. If they do, then you might as well just can the season then. But that being said, he's going to have 3 games of prep, too, before Big Ten play hits. And I forget what the Big Ten schedule looks like. I don't think it's as hard next year either. Between Maryland, Northwestern's decent. Michigan State's probably on a new coach. Wisconsin probably should be on a new coach. Nebraska is coming to town. USC is coming to town. Might have a new coach. There's rumors about that one now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal for him to get reps this year or not. But I think if you're going to put him in a game, why the hell are you just letting him hand it off? I think that's really stupid.
Yep. Don't really get it.
And I can see these comments. So I got a new question. How about this one?
Here we go.
Ohio State.
I'm just warning you right now. If you mention
we will ban you.
Kick you out.
No. Ohio State beats Michigan, or the Browns, the Guardians, and the Blue Jackets all win their championships in a calendar year. What would you rather
Kick them. I don't know how to do it, but kick them out of here. Give them a timeout for a minute. Jesus, Craig. The fucking Browns we're talking about. We're talking about Cleveland sports. No one gives a shit about Cleveland sports. No offense to the single Brown fan that's in here. Back to the game. This is a good point. And I do think having that bye week obviously helped him install a lot of what he wanted to put in versus what Rob Smith was calling, because we don't know what the fuck he was calling. Who let him back in?
I did.
And you muted him too. It's even better.
So he's still on timeout, but he's allowed to sit back at the table.
Listen, I'm done with the Cleveland sports talk. It's just going to be Rutgers talk from here on out because we got a lot to talk about from yesterday's basketball game to today's football game.
No, we're not talking basketball. We're done with that one. We're over that. That's done. Yeah, Greg probably did take it over too late, but I think it was. Remember, I said it before. I think it was actually kind of quietly strategic that he waited until like it was the Washington game when that was a really ugly one. Then he saw Oregon on the map or on the schedule, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm not taking over for Oregon. Are you kidding me? That team's about to put up like 50 easily. Let Rob do this one real quick, and then we can just use that tape for how we're gonna fix things." Which honestly, quietly, the defense got a lot better against Purdue. It looked decent against Illinois, but Illinois kind of did, and in the end, ended up pulling away a lot. But yeah, he probably did take it over too late, but I also think quietly he did it on purpose. He wanted to give Rob as much time as he could, and he really didn't want to call the defense against Oregon.
Conspiracy theory, I get it. But... I get it. I get the thought process. But we're still waiting for Greg Schiano to take the stage. For those who were wondering, Notre Dame is also winning now, 42-0 against Syracuse.
Jesus Christ!
Syracuse. Have they gotten the ball yet?
They've gotten the ball. They've. In fairness, Syracuse has scored multiple touchdowns this game. It's just because they threw it directly to Notre Dame players and they returned it for touchdowns. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more I can think of to discuss about in this game that we haven't kind of beaten to death. Still no presser. Have we checked again?
I'm looking. Yeah, there's nothing at the moment. I can't imagine him being very happy for this one. Like, no. But I also don't think he'll be as sad as he's been the past couple ones. I don't know. It might just be an okay mood. Be like, hey, we put up a fight. It is what it is. They're good.
We're on to Penn State.
So the press conference is up if we want to watch it.
Oh, you got it? I just checked. Yeah. It wasn't up. What the fuck? What was that thing you said about Syracuse before, by the way?
What do you mean?
Oh, what'd you say before? You like whispered it. You said something about something Syracuse. I couldn't hear you before.
I mean, they are.
I was talking about how you said fuck Syracuse, but I was trying to give you another opportunity.
Okay, guys, appreciate you covering our team. Tough one for our guys. Tough one. Ohio State's got a really good football team, and I'm proud of our guys, but we just weren't good enough today. Questions? Yeah, but that's not. Yes, they did some good things, but we made mistakes that, I think we need to stop making them if we're going to have a chance to compete with a team like that. And it's not just players, it's not just coaches, it's everybody, starting with me. So we got to get better. Incremental improvement. 24-hour rule. We'll get back home.
Get
to work on it.
The game at home.
Move forward. Got a big game next week. How much of an impact did those have in some of those stretches where you almost had to stop for a couple? Well, we're off. The first one, we have a sack, or we're off and we get a hold. I think it was a sack. Yeah, we get a sack and we get a hold. And then the fourth down play, we're off. We get a penalty. The third touchdown, I was proud of the guys. They started with the ball on the 1 yard line, right? So we stop them coming out at half, which is what I said. We got to come out and get a stop and then go score and win the middle eight and have a chance to to take this thing into the fourth quarter. The whole plan was get it to the fourth quarter and see if we can't win this game. And at points, I thought we had a chance to do that. And that they get the ball at the 1 yard line on the sack fumble. I was proud of our guys. They stuff them, and they cause them to commit a foul and move them back to the 11. And then that play, you judge for yourself. I mean, I'm not real happy with that play, and I'm not disappointed in I'm not happy with that play. Yeah, there's a couple things today that I wasn't pleased with, but they're not perfect. Well, certainly, I made my share of mistakes today. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm not. We now have probably the officials' worst nightmare is that we have iPads now, so we can see it, right? So it's disappointing when you see it. It's not like you have to wait to get on the bus and watch the tape. You see it in real time, or just about. But look, we're not 1 or 2 penalties away from winning this game. That I can tell you. Would it have made it more interesting? Sure, but we wore down a little bit, I think, and they're a good football team.
So along with that play that we just discussed, were there flags that didn't call for your side, or some of the flags that called for you guys didn't like story about it?
Yeah, I don't get into the officiating. Officials have a tough job. There's 8 of them. There's 22 players. The 22 players are getting bigger, stronger, and faster every year. So, I mean, to make those calls in real time is a very challenging job, and I have a lot of respect for the job they do. Do I get disappointed when I believe that the call was incorrect? Sure, but I also get disappointed when I make a bad call. We all make mistakes.
JobScan is known for revolutionizing resume optimization.
Oh God.
16 yards, I guess. Where is he in his comfort level getting back on the field when you see out there for Penn State?
We felt like their defensive front is so big and so strong that we felt like Sam maybe gave us something a little different. Not that Antoine and Benji aren't strong, but Sam's I don't know, 15, 20 pounds heavier. So we thought all 3 of them could kind of mix and match in the game today. Not many people have run the ball on these guys. Not many people have scored points on these guys. I looked and I said, it's 7.5. And then I looked a little deeper and they're less than a touchdown a game average, So earlier in the week, I said I thought they were really doing a great job. Matt Patricia comes in as the coordinator, does a great job defensively, and really good, talented players. But at the end of the day, it's about us in my mind. And we didn't play well enough. We didn't coach well enough. We need to go back to work and improve. Yep.
After 2 more, you're playing football game next week against Penn State at home. And there are a lot of parts of that game. Just what's your approach to the team for that game? Just kind of how you do the next
Yeah, I mean, the approach is the same as it always is, right? When circumstance cannot dictate your behavior. Is it exciting that you have a game that if you win, you keep playing, and if you don't, yeah, that's fun. As a competitor, you love that. But the preparation, if you let circumstance dictate your behavior, you're gonna have a tough life, and that's what I try to teach these kids. Right? You have to react to things. There's no doubt about that, but you can't let that be the impetus to what you do. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing things the rest of your life. You have to learn how to, put your feelings aside and make choices. And that's what we have to do. We have to lock in and focus and get better. And there'll be stuff from this game that we can improve on and evaluate what Penn State's doing and come up with a plan and go practice all week and get ready to go play.
Final question. On that 4th and 1 in the motion order, I guess, before the timeout, was that your decision to go for it the entire way even during the timeout? And I guess what was the deciding factor that made you want to keep the offense on the field?
Well, I thought it was going to be a game where we had to be aggressive, knowing how good they are. But I also know that not a lot of people have moved the ball on them in short yardage, right? So when you look at a 2-game sample size or a 3-game sample size, you could say, oh, they're really hitting it, calling it right, doing it right. When you look at a 10-game sample size and there's not a lot of conversions there, you have to. But we felt like the risk was worth the reward because we needed to keep the drive alive, and we did. I thought there was things we didn't then, but there were some things that we did that kept the ball in our hands, kept the clock moving. Again, there was a plan to try to get it into the fourth quarter and go win it, and we just came up a little short. So that's the way it goes. We'll get better. And again, I thank you for covering us. Appreciate you coming out, and get home safely. Thanks.
All right, so that was Greg Schiano at the podium. We also have somebody else in the queue here. I'm bad. Are you? How's it going? Thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts on this game? We can hear you perfect.
Okay. I think they did better than I thought they were going to do. I think hanging in for a half is pretty good. But I have just some more general questions. So to me, the simple explanation for this game largely is the 25 or $30 million team beat the $8 million team. It's not a surprise. It's nothing new. It's getting very stale and old how major college sports is going. And I keep thinking to myself, I got to cut the cord. Like it's just nothing anymore. It's nothing fun. Maybe they can just make a 64 team league of all those folks who have money, let them play in their league, and then have, the Louisvilles and the Cincinnatis and the Rutgers and the whoever, the SMUs, because it's not fun. It's a joke. And I'm tired of hearing how great Ryan Day is as a coach. Because he can buy the best of the best. It's lost so much from me. I don't know.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
What did Jim Harbaugh say about Ryan Day? He was like, this is a guy who, thinks he hit a home run, but he was born on base.
Yeah. Yep. Born on third base, which is true. I mean, he inherited a hell of a program.
Right.
In terms of NIL, though, it's funny you say SMU because SMU is probably in the top 10 or 15.
Well, they're getting it. You're right.
Yeah.
They're sort of pivoting now for sure.
Louisville's buying Rutgers players from them too.
Yeah.
So it is tough, but
I don't know what the teams are going to be, but I'm
I get what
not
you're saying.
fun.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Fun.
It's tough because and I think Rick Pitino said this the other day, college basketball and college football is probably at an all-time high viewership wise. Like it doesn't get any higher than it is now. Which is
it's weird.
Crazy, but it's also created more parity with NIL too, because now instead of seeing Bama in the championship every year and Georgia in the championship every year, you're seeing Big Ten teams win it. And it's like, who would have thought that 5 or 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
These were the teams that couldn't get over that gap. Now all of a sudden they're getting over that gap with money. And Indiana's proven
it's still only interesting at the upper crust with the upper crust folks. The only big surprise is Indiana. I mean, Indiana, that's probably lightning in a bottle. But I have one other question, and I'll let you guys go. Why isn't holding called anymore in college football? On the line.
You could call it every play if you wanted to.
It happens every play.
What happened to holding? I don't get it.
Yeah. It has to be like obvious and blatant. I feel like
the teams that have the best actors along the line and also have the most to lose typically will get the calls. Like Zaire Angoy on that holding call that he had called for him on that 2nd and 1 in the goal in the red zone. If you watch that, he sold the shit out of that hold, and that's what you have to do. You have to make it look so blatant and so obvious that you have to call it. Otherwise, like even tugs on the jersey aren't going to do it today.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, love you guys. Really enjoy everything you're doing. Thanks very much. I hope Kelly and the new president can sort of move things to a different level.
Preach. Yeah, I hope so too. I think there's a lot of trust in them right now.
They're getting close. Thank you.
All right. See, I'm bad. Thanks for hopping on. I do want to shout out Doomsday Dan as well for the super chats. He said, I wish they'd stop front loading the schedule every year. Give us something to look forward to mid-season. I think the last couple of years they have been backloaded, but it does create a situation where, if you don't get into a certain position by a certain time on the schedule, you kind of know your fate, which is kind of how it's felt like this year, where because we lost Iowa and Minnesota the way we did, we kind of knew how we'd have to kind of fly a perfect route to a bowl game. And who knows if we're going to get there. Next week's going to determine that. And then
Well, I mean, TV times and Big Ten obviously dictate that part of the schedule. And they're never going to be like the SEC where it's like, hey, let's throw Norfolk State at week 12 instead of week 3. They want to get as many people in the stadium as possible when they can. When's the best time to do that? Early season in September, October. So maybe not this year, October, mostly September this year.
Yeah, it feels like every year it just starts the same. It's the 3 out of conference, which, I mean, they basically have to win to have any shot of a bowl. Then you got your 3 games against your maybe Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, usually that you have no shot of winning. And it's about those 3 other toss-ups. Are you going to win them or are you going to lose them? Or 3 or 4 toss-ups that will depend, that will decide Rutgers' season and whether or not they will go to a bowl game.
Now, will they put Maryland at the end of the schedule next year is the big question. Now that it's an official Big Ten rivalry sponsored by Venmo, you have to put it at the last game of the year. You have to put it rivalry weekend. Like, you can't be doing this nonsense where it's like, yeah, it's week 9. Let's play Maryland. Like, no.
And
like,
looking
if
at
you're going
that
to make it a rivalry, make it a rivalry.
And looking at that injury report, I don't know if Rutgers wants that.
No, probably not.
No, but we'll see.
Andy asked if we find a way to beat Penn State next week, will they go to Detroit? We kind of speculated that a bit earlier, but we can kind of kick back to that. Richie, I think you're leading the charge here that you think it's more likely that we end up in the Bronx than the widely projected Detroit after Christmas Bowl by the media prognosticators. You think it's most likely the Bronx if we end up winning next weekend?
So it really depends on how the rest of the Big Ten shakes out. How many teams are going to get in the playoff? Probably 3, I would say, maybe 4. It really depends on like Ohio State's in, right? Indiana's probably in. Oregon probably in, right?
No, Oregon's kind of got to win today because they can't lose both today and next week against Washington and make it.
Like the 25 college football playoff rankings are weird too, because like, is Ole Miss going to take a hit for not doing anything? Because like the Lane Kiffin said, they keep saying that's going to affect it. Like right now, Oregon's 7. Who else is on the cusp? Isn't there someone else? USC if they win today instead of Oregon, I guess. But I don't know. It really depends on how the top half of the Big Ten plays out, because then it just goes to the next tier and the next tier and the next tier and the next tier. And I think the bottom 3 is Pinstripe, something, then Detroit. I forget what that something is, but I do think if the Pinstripe has an opportunity to pick Illinois, like they're going to pick a ranked Illinois. But if they don't have like Illinois and it's between, say, Rutgers and Minnesota, I think you'd be dumb not to pick Rutgers if you're the Pinstripe Bowl. You're guaranteed at least like what, 30,000 fans in that stadium for that game, at least.
Yep.
So I know everyone at the Pinstripe Bowl loves Rutgers too, and we've joked around about it like mid-season too. And everyone that like we talked to at Rutgers has said the same thing. Like the Pinstripe's going to pick us if we get the 6 wins. And it's like, all right, I believe you. Full like no doubt in my mind. Like the Pinstripe loves Rutgers. Like it makes almost too much sense.
Because people like to make money, and we bring that. Because we show up. It's the easiest bowl for us to get to, and it'll be the easiest bowl for really most fan bases to get to outside of playing in your own home stadium. So I don't really think we have a whole lot more to talk about. Light crew today in terms of the people watching live.
I saw a question here I wanted to bring up.
Shoot.
I clicked that one on purpose. I mean, accident. This one. This is where it gets really interesting. Who's your defensive coordinator wish list for next season? Now, we've started to put together a couple names because it's inevitable. It's going to happen. I think there's 2 names that stick out more than anyone to me personally. And I gotta look up the guy's name again because I keep forgetting his name. But it is the Toledo defensive coordinator. He was at Mount Union, which is a D3 school, but it's arguably the best D3 program in college football like history. Vince, I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Carries. I'm gonna go Carries. That sounds about right. Kehres. Carries. He was a head coach at Mount Union from 2013 to 19. He was one of the best head coaches in D3. Won multiple national championships with them. Comes to Toledo, turns them into a powerhouse defensive product. Not only that, they're recruiting at a very high rate. Whether it's him, whether it's director of player personnel, whether it's just one of the defensive coaches, they are recruiting at a crazy level. Rutgers has flipped one commit, and he ended up flipping to Bama. I think there was a second commit somewhere else that flipped to a Power 4 school as well. And they've been doing this year in and year out. Like Toledo has been recruiting at a high level under Jason Candle, and he's still there for some reason, which I don't understand. But they're one of the best defenses like in G5 at the moment. I think he's a name that you have to keep an eye on. He's a linebackers coach. No connection really to Rutgers, no connection to New Jersey. I think he's a Midwest guy. He's from Ohio, so makes a lot of sense. But I think he's one, if you want to go after a high name G5 guy, I think Tyler Simpson is another guy I would look into. He's the Ravens inside linebackers coach. He's not doing a whole lot this year with the inside linebackers for the Ravens, whose defense has been kind of atrocious, even though I drafted him in fantasy. Fuck me. But he was pretty good last year and the year before that at Georgia Tech as their defensive coordinator. He's a Jersey guy. I forget exactly what town he's from. For some reason in my head, I want to say Englewood, but I don't think that's right either. But he is from Jersey. He has a lot of connections to, or maybe some Pennsylvania, one of the two. Either way, he's got connections to the Northeast. He was really good in the ACC with Georgia Tech. He's a reason why Brent Key has gotten this program to where he is today. And I think he'd be an interesting name. After that, it's really just a guessing game. There's not many names left on Schiano's list that have a connection to Schiano or have a connection to the staff or have a connection to New Jersey. And that's basically his MO when it comes to hiring coaches. But you're running out of names. I mean, they've hired just about everyone that you could have that had a connection to him that doesn't have a better job. And I mean, you could try Corey Heatherman again, but I highly doubt he leaves Miami at this point.
No, he's not.
So, yeah, I'd say those are my top two at the moment.
And who knows, maybe UMass has seen enough from Joe Harris-Simiak and let him go after a year. I don't think that's likely, but I mean, he certainly would be a top candidate. Want to thank Doomsday Dan once again for the donation. He said Music City Bowl versus Auburn has been my dream game since moving to Birmingham, Alabama. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Auburn might have gotten to 7 losses already. So I don't think, okay, they're at 6 losses. I'm sorry. They need to beat Alabama next week to get to a bowl. So possible, but I think unlikely. They play Mercer today, so that's going to be an easy win.
I don't know what name I just said before, but that was not correct at all. It's Tyler Santucci.
Okay.
I'm an idiot. But he worked under Mike Elko at Duke, at Texas A&M, worked under Brent Key at Georgia Tech. Like he's a name. Worked with Lyle Hemphill. Hemphill actually credits him a little bit for his defense. Also, New Kensington, Pennsylvania native. So I was nowhere near close with that either. So I'm just off on everything.
This is a great question from Henry Bohm. What do we think the line next week is going to be? So I think it's going to depend on if Penn State wins or not tonight, but let's just kind of like give our guess regardless of situation. I think 7.5 is a really close number to kind of what I'm thinking. How about you guys? Yeah.
So they're 7.5 favorites tonight against Nebraska, and that's a home game.
Yep.
So that leads me to say 3.5 in favor of Penn State next weekend. I think Rutgers, I know.
I got to imagine Nebraska's higher in terms of power ratings than us, though.
Yeah, I think they lose tonight. I really do. I'm not super confident. Yeah, I'm not super confident in this Penn State team. I think they are kind of down in the dumps, and then they still don't have a head coach, and it seems like a mess. They're losing all the recruits. I don't know if there's much more to play for. Like Drew Hours out. Tony Rojas, their star linebacker, just posted on TikTok today saying, I'll miss you, boys. So it's like, all right, he might be out too, and he's got another year left. And where's he from? Look at the state he's from. Oh, look at that, Virginia. So it's going to be ugly in State College over the next couple of years. I think tonight might be, and you know how bad Matt Rule wants to win this fucking game.
Sure.
Just to like kind of stick the knife and twist it a little more in Penn State's back. Like it's This is big. I would say probably. I'll go 4.5. I'll go 4.5 Penn State. I'll lock that in.
Yeah, I was
What's your
thinking
grade?
if Penn State it depends how they look. I think if Penn State loses tonight, it doesn't look too good. I could see like a 3.5 for Penn State, but if they win and they have something to play for next week, then I do think it'll probably be like a 7. Probably, yeah. I'll say like damn, I'm stuck between that 6.5, 7.5. I think I'll say 6.5 just because I'm there. No, I'll go 7.5, 7.5, 6, 7. Yeah, 6, 6.5, 7.5. I'll go 7.5 if Penn State wins tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think Penn State wins, and I think it's roughly 7.5. Who knows? Maybe we're wrong. We'll know tomorrow, though.
Probably like 10.5.
Do you think Penn
But
State?
I take Rutgers money line.
You only live once, Mike.
Again.
Waiting on Tuesday.
Yeah. I'll have a solid position by early next week. I want to get an idea of who's healthy, who's not. I mean, it doesn't seem like Rutgers lost anybody in this game. The other thing I want to point out is coming out of a bye, Schiano typically will like add something different in his game planning. Nothing new was put into this tape that I saw. So I got to imagine they are saving a bit for the Penn State game. Not to say that means, we're going to have fumble rooskies and fake punts and, all this like pop pass shit. I don't know. I think there's going to be something new added to next week's game plan, though, that we haven't thrown out since the bye.
I think he's going to do it because
more schemes to the tight end, maybe.
I mean, if you just throw to the tight end, I think that's a trick play.
They did it a couple times.
Well,
today.
yeah, the same.
Same rollout.
Yeah.
Option. Yeah.
I think he's going to do it though, because if Rutgers wins and he wins the bet, this pod is going to be a full on celebration. And if Rutgers loses and he loses the bet, there's going to be another rant. So either way, it's going to be electric.
Oh, Jesus.
So YC also asked, who are Penn State's top candidates right now, Richie? I know that they embarrassingly interviewed Bobby Ingram, like you said. Who's left on their board at this point?
So apparently Matt Rule was number 1. They were all in on Matt Rule. They thought they were going to get him. Just didn't pan out that way. Then he loses to Minnesota, and I think that was the real kicker. And it was like, we can't fucking hire the guy that just got beat by Minnesota. Like, Jesus, what a bad look that is. Now Matt Rule has a really good connection, really close connection to their AD and Pat Kraft, who was the AD at Temple at the time when Rule was there. That being said, they've went to Signetti. He said no. They went to Lane Kiffin. He said no. There was talk that they went to Brian Hartline and they interviewed him. He technically didn't say no yet. I'm sure he would take the job because, why would you not? I don't even know if he's calling plays technically. I'm sure it's Ryan Day probably still doing the play calling. They're down to just about Bob Chesney, who I think is a really good coach, and I actually would have loved him as an option for Rutgers if it ended up opening. I just don't think Penn State can afford that risk. This is a guy that's coached at Holy Cross for multiple years, went to James Madison for 2 years now. He had a solid year at James Madison last year. He's a solid year at James Madison this year. James Madison is one of the better talented G5 programs in general. They don't play a lot of tough competition in Sunbelt, I think it is. But either way, that's one of their top names. But he's also rumored as UCLA's top candidate, and he wants an answer soon. So there's a chance he could just end up at UCLA, and they'll be striking out again. Eli Drinkowitz was a name that apparently was not high on their list, but it sounds like he's kind of went down their list a little bit now. It sounds like there's rumors he might have even said no. Wants to stay in the SEC. Likes Missouri, and there's also, of course, if Florida doesn't get Lane Kiffin, where the hell are they going to look? Eli Drinkowitz would be a name. Jed Fish at Washington would be a name for them. As for Penn State, I don't know what happens if you don't get Bob Chesney. You're kind of shit out of luck at this point.
Brian Dable.
Honestly,
Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on there, which is I find so funny is that all these Penn State fans are rooting for Kalen DeBoer to lose these top 10 games, lose these shitter games. And it's like, wait, he's losing top 10 games. Wait, didn't the guy that you just fired get fired because he was losing the top 10 game? Wait, hold on. This is what you want to do? What are we doing here? This is wild. So if Kalen DeBoer gets let go, he'll probably be one of the top names on their list. But I just find it wild that Penn State fans are rooting for DeBoer's demise. And I've said it multiple times in this search on Twitter. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, you haven't seen it, but I've said so many times they're so desperate. Like, this is getting ugly. This is getting brutal. This is supposed to be Penn State fans think that Penn State is Alabama, and it's more like Arkansas.
Yeah.
That's actually basically what it is. Like, Arkansas has decent money. They're okay. They're never going to get past the Ohio, the upper echelon of SEC. And that's where Penn State is right now. They're kind of just stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, no, it's very accurate that they kind of think they're in a position they're actually not. I don't know what he's trolling there, so whatever.
No, he's talking about how Rutgers balled so hard and
I get
Ohio State. Yeah, GG's, buddy.
Alec
Hate that
is
guy.
In the chat, said, "Wow, that Alec guy is super cool and awesome. Why isn't he on this podcast?"
Oh,
Good
there we
question.
go.
I don't know. What are you guys' final thoughts? We've been on for an hour.
We're on
get
to
back
Penn
to-
State.
Yeah, we're on to Penn State, obviously, in a must
Winning.
win for bowl situation, because I mean, playing in the bowl is kind of inconsequential. It's more so that
Doesn't
bowl
matter.
development time that you can actually get guys healed up and get young guys playing, and it's like a mini little spring practice, and you build those over time, and your team's going to get better. But it certainly can be disruptive of the program if you don't have that development time.
It is funny though that this really is kind of feels like a season-defining game, because if they win, like, it's going to be a celebration of we finally beat Penn State for the first time since 1982, I think, and going to the bowl. Was that 88?
88, yeah.
88. Gotcha. Sorry.
We weren't born.
Yeah, going back to the Bronx or going back to the Pinstripe Bowl, which everybody loves. But if they lose, then it's a case of, again, I think we saw that we talked about in the chat that they basically have the top, if not one of the top in the Big Ten. You know, Athan's pass. I know Athan's not the best quarterback in the Big Ten, but passing leaders, rushing leaders. Antoine Raymond is a Doak Walker semifinalist. You got receiving leaders with Duff and Ian Strong, who are. I mean, they got so much that went right, really, in a way, on them offensively this season, and to not end it with at least getting to a bowl game just kind of feels empty. So it's really kind of an all or nothing game that if they win, I mean, we're going to be on here probably, throwing not gonna, just going. It's going to be huge. It would be huge to beat Penn State to end the season. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it.
It's only like $250 to take a flight and a one-night stay in Detroit. Like,
after Christmas too.
Day after? No, I mean, there's no way my flight's getting out on time if that's the case. Like, it's a little risky. I don't know what time the game is. I'm assuming probably noon or something like that. But I might have to book it and just have one of those those free cancellations and just go from there. But
take the family.
No, I'm actually going to book the train ride because it's going to the Pinstripe. I think they get it. I think they end up doing it. I think they end up beating Penn State for the first time since, as Jason Lockhart just said, 1988. I, again, was not born. Kind of interested to see how this ends up playing out. But I think Rutgers should be able to dictate that game and kind of beat up on a team that not only has a young quarterback, but a green quarterback. Someone that's getting reps, unlike AJ Suresh, So,
yeah, my final thoughts are this is what we expected. Next week was always going to be, for the last month, what defined this season. So it's time to nut up or shut up for the coaching staff and for the players. Make yourself, the legacy that you came here to build. You have your opportunity. You have your opportunity to close this season out on a high note and to make this season successful. And if you lose, the season was not a success in my opinion, and I feel like a lot of fans' opinion. So
yeah,
just go win. But that's all we got. I want to thank our sponsor, FanDuel, once again. I don't really have any college football bets for the rest of the weekend that I like, but tomorrow I do like Travis Kelce's receiving yardage over. I like Jonathan Taylor's receiving yardage over, and I like Zay Flowers' receiving yardage over. So
hold on, say that again.
Zay Flowers receiving yardage, Travis Kelce receiving yardage, Jonathan Taylor receiving yardage. That's all we got. Thanks to everybody who joined the live stream, and we will see you back early next week for our couple shows. We're gonna have a pregame show to preview Penn State. We're also gonna discuss what Schiano had to say at his postgame or his pregame, his weekly conference.
We can talk some hoops.
We talk some hoops. Yeah, let's see where that
Vegas, baby.
See where things stand after Vegas beats the crap out of our team. But thanks for everybody for joining. For me, Richie, and Craig, this has been another post-game edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.